is Roger, thanks for dropping by. This is the first go at this flashback update principle, which could become a sort of regular thing on and off. This is the first one. I'm not saying that the format will stay the same, and I'm certainly not saying that in future I'll be filming in the kitchen. But the reason I'm filming in the kitchen today is that I've finished my watering and everything now, and the grow room has got full sun on it and it's hot in there and I need all the kit on. And given that it's blue sky wall to wall at the moment and may well stay that way for the rest of the day, I'm not risking leaving it until later. Now if I knew it was going to cloud over this afternoon and it was going to cool down, I'd have waited, because obviously the light's better out there. But anyway, the principle is that at the start of the video, so sort of now, there should be a pop-up card at the top, in the top right hand corner of the screen, which is in effect will be the repotting or mounting video that this is an update for. So the idea is you sort of pause now and watch that video should you choose to do so. Now the one I've chosen this time is totally at random. There's no principle to it, apart from the fact that it wasn't too long ago. It was the repotting was done in January, so 3 months ago, something like that. And it was just these two plants. That's the problem. A lot of my repotting videos have a lot of plants in them because I'd like to crack on and do a lot together. So under normal circumstances, the format will be a brief introduction, the pop-up card to pause and go and have a look at the repotting or the mounting to remind yourself what the plants look like, and then when you've done with that you continue the current video as I do the update. So let's get on and do the update. Now there were two plants involved. This one is in effect, I would almost guarantee it's a trade name, Oncidium Cheyenne. Now when we looked at this, it had some roots. I suspected that the chances are we were going to lose some, and I'm not digging it out of the pot to prove that one way or the other. And these opaque pots are brilliant for keeping the algae off, but they're not very good for seeing little tiny new root shoots. But at the base of the new growths you can see that there are roots down in there. So these may not have been growing very long, yeah, because I can sort of tell, because that strange looking new growth we had was in fact two, and they have grown on as separate growths now. But you can tell by the shape of the leaves they're not hydrating as well as they should. That probably means that the roots have only just started to grow, and these pleats in these leaves may never go away. They might plump up, but there's still some leaves to push out, so it hasn't finished producing leaves. So that'll have to be a wait and see to see whether these leaves sort themselves out. But under normal circumstances, this Oncidium has quite a few leaves. If you look at this previous bulb, you've got like a bract leaf here, and another one, followed by another pair of proper leaves, and 3 leaves coming out the top. Yeah, that's quite a lot of leaves. A lot of Oncidium types have only got the 4. So we will see how they progress, but as far as I'm concerned, the older bulbs haven't desiccated badly. They've shriveled a bit, which is to be expected after disturbance, but not badly. They haven't like completely caved in. So they're still supportive. They're still capable of holding nutrients and supplying some energy and everything for the 2 new growths. So coming on okay. You know, it's you know, difficult to say whether it's lost all of its old root system. There are some, I mean that is a new root tip there on the edge of the pot, just the one. But as I said, these opaque pots are not very easy for seeing the roots through, unless they're actually touching the sides. So that's that one. I'm okay with that. That's not brilliant progress. As I said, these leaves have got pleats. So I think what's happening here is that the roots came late. Yeah, so the growth's pushed on faster than the roots could support them. But hopefully that will balance itself out as time goes on. So that's that one. And then this one was the bobcat, wildcat bobcat. And on this particular one, I did sort of say at the time that I have never seen any of the Wildcat series with a bulb like that. And blow me, it's got 2 of them. So these are well supporting bulbs. They haven't really shriveled, they've got a few creases on them, they're still massive, they're still solid. And again, a good set of leaves on both of those bulbs supporting the new growth, which is pushing on at a rate of knots now. That's progressing nicely. And on this growth you can see the new roots going down into the pot. Yeah. Have they reached the edge of the pot yet? No. Did the old root system fail? Don't know. That is the downside of these pots. I can see a couple of little tiny green tips in the pot. So we may not have lost the complete old system of roots, but we've certainly got some new ones growing. And so they will now push on down into the pot and support this bulb, and it'll eventually become self-supporting and not need the backup from the other 2. But in the meantime, if this had no roots at all, this would still be able to grow using the energy and support from the previous 2 bulbs. Draining them, you know, gradually they would get more and more shriveled, but it wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't stop the new growth growing. But obviously it's an awful lot better if it's got supportive roots. So yeah, so that's the 2. I'm reasonably pleased with the progress. The Oncidium Intergenerics, especially the ones that arrive in that sort of peat-based compost, are notorious for losing their root system when you repot them, and sometimes they're difficult to recover on the grounds that they lose their roots, and if new roots don't come along reasonably soon to replace them, they will desiccate, because obviously they're not self-supporting anymore. And this often happens, and it's worse when you've got a degree of cold element in that intergeneric, which is why the Nellie-Islas are a little awkward, because they've got that odontoglossum factor in there, which is a cool to cold grower, and it means they don't recover as well if you've got a warm environment, you know, because they're in an adverse set of conditions. It's not what they want. I would suggest that where at all possible, if the conditions are right, with the Oncidium Intergenerics, if you're in a position where you think you're going to get your new roots in the not too distant future, and that coincides with autumn rather than spring, I'd get on with it, because then it's got the cool of winter to re-establish itself. Now, not all the intergenerics have got a cold element in them, so some of them are genuinely intermediate and up the warmer end, and when you repot those shouldn't matter so much. But finding out which is which, well, that's where the fun is. So that's the progress on those 2 anyway. This strange new growth did split into 2, but as I said, it's not hydrating as well as it should, and this new growth is pushing on really well. The backup plant is fine, and new roots are pushing out, so that this will be fine. This will push on and bloom, no doubt. We shall see whether these actually bloom, but as long as they form bulbs, even if these 2 growths don't bloom, they will then produce 2 more new growths, and they will, because it won't get disturbed. So there we go. So that's the basic format of this. As I said, a brief introduction, a top right hand corner card to go and watch the repotting or mounting video, and then come back and see the update. So that's the general format. But as I said, not necessarily being filmed in the kitchen. This is really just for me to play with the software, find out if everything hangs together okay, and get something published under this new title, just to get it going. I would hope they would be better in future as I progress and do this more often. We shall see. See you next time.